Welcome to a very special episode of the Dunkers podcast, Ode to Jeff, the heart of the Dunkers. Today we celebrate the life of Jeff Taylor, a man with a wicked sense of humour, a generous spirit and a love for the sea that inspired us all. 1 year ago, Jeff unfortunately left us due to an overtaxed body, and then despite every effort we could muster, he wasn't coming back to this his dunking life. Whilst his heart may have given out too soon, his warmth, his laughter and his courage lives on in every one of us. In this episode, you'll hear memories, reflections and messages from the Dunkers community. Why we dunk, what it means to us, and what we'd say to Jeff if he were here today. So Jeff's now square and centre stage, and we'll recall his time with us as he'd have wanted, with joy, with stories, and maybe even a cheeky chuckle or two, because he was the friend who made a real difference to the Abersoch Dunkers. So it's therefore timely we capture a bit of Jeff's own backstory. Dunking in Abersoch has been a live sport, or certainly a community pastime, since late summer 2020. And Jeff rolled down to the beach early 22. Initially, as happens to everyone, there was not exactly a reluctance to dunk from him, more a little untrusting of the space that was occupied by noisy, lively and unbelievably enthusiastic people at 8 o'clock in the morning. That's every morning, of every day, of every year. Jeff was physically something of a larger-than-life personality, albeit had to be nudged out of his mental and physical self. Once out, his signature line, "We must be bloody mad," echoed across the beach each morning, making everyone happy and never failed to raise a smile on us all. Dunkers are a loyal and passionately committed group to one another, and we collected around this tragedy and loss, and today our podcast is really an acknowledgement of our community spirit to each other, centred around the memory of Jeff. The format of today has been scoped out by the Dunkers themselves, and a collection of reflections have been written and will be shared here on the podcast. We'll name who's the contributor as we share with you their thoughts and their words, hopefully capturing the sentiments they expressed when they wrote them down. It's definitely not another goodbye, more of a, "Hey Jeff, this is what we wanted to say to you had you not left us so quickly." Maybe, I'm also believing, it'll actually be a therapy for many of us. Okay, let's deep dive right in. And for those who are listeners of the Dunkers podcast, if not regular Dunkers themselves, I guarantee you'll realise and discover what Jeff meant to us individually and together. So you can join us dunking in the ocean when next you're here. Today I've got two Dunkers sitting alongside me as our Dunkers readers, and that's Nigel Bell and Sue Teague. Nigel?
Hello everybody, Nigel here.
Sue?
Hello everybody, Sue here.
So please get used to their voices, because they'll bring the messages and the moments that people have asked us to share. If you're not in Abersoch today, this podcast is released on Jeff's first year special Groin Day, meaning wherever you are, you can be part of our celebrations. And do please share this podcast with friends and others, as there are over 1,100 Facebook followers of Abersoch Dunkers alone, and we need to reach them all. Also, please follow our regular Dunkers podcast, which is on Spotify, Amazon and Apple, and whose purpose is to tell the backstory of many a Dunker and reveal some special, fun and often personalised moments for us all to giggle at. So I'll ask Sue to start off and ask you just to listen to the moments and the memories of everybody.
Our first memory is from Vanessa. We lovingly knew him as Smiley Jeff. While others told me how he used to be more reserved, I remember him as always having a smile on his face and chuckling at the ridiculous things we'd all talk about. Always first on the beach, enjoying peace and quiet with his coffee, and by the time we arrived, his smile lit up the morning.
Helen. I find it really hard to write down what I have in mind, so here goes. Just sitting on the beach by Jeff's groin. I remember the first time I came dunking. When I arrived on the beach that first morning, early, as I thought I would be the first one there, but no, there was Jeff sat alone on the beach hut, and from that day on, he was always first there. I did try and beat him. It wouldn't have made any difference what time I left. He was always there first. I would have a joke with him and say, "Have you been here all night?" Jeff was such a kind and funny man. Always had a one-liner to respond to you. I really miss his presence when I arrive on the beach. He was such a gentleman in every sense of the word.
And my own words to Jeff. Jeff, I'll always remember you for your constant presence, your wicked, hearty laugh, your triathlon triumph, and the early morning candlelit beach huts. You'll always be loved and never forgotten. We miss you.
Andy Teague. Sue and I both dunk as it enables us to both enjoy some time, something together, and has resulted in us both making new friends. It is not just the dunking, it is the walk, talk, and other activities that we get involved in which make it such great fun. Jeff, who was introduced to the group by Ali, was a character who we all loved and adored. He was an inspiration to us all, especially when he entered the triathlon last year, and his memory will always live on. I would ask him if he realised how much he was adored and how much laughter and fun he brought to the group.
Nikki. I started dunking a few months before Jeff suddenly died. The group has always been friendly, but from day one, Jeff stood out, always smiling, always with time for a joke and a chat. At a time when I wasn't really settled anywhere and was moving around a lot, he somehow always listened and remembered where I'd been, whether Mexico, Lisbon, or somewhere else. If I could speak to him today, I'd say, "Thanks, Jeff, for being such a smiling, welcoming presence and for always taking the time. It made the biggest difference to me."
Morgan Nigel. Dunking for us is an adventure every day to enjoy, a camaraderie with friends we never knew we were going to meet and become such an important part of our lives. Dunking is invigorating, exhilarating and addictive, and a joyful part of life. Jeff is remembered with love. He was gentle, kind and caring, and always the first person to arrive, sitting there with a huge smile on his face, waiting to greet us. And I'm sure he's looking down on us, smiling and thinking, "What a mad bunch. We all are still here." Duncan was Jeff's happy place, as it is for us too. He is much missed.
Tom and Andrea. We only knew Jeff for a short time, too short. He was a lovely man who made the mornings brighter with his laughs and smiles. He made everyone welcome and was a joy to walk down the beach with. His charity triathlon was a testimony to his determination and caring for others. A fine man and a fine dunker. We miss you, Jeff. Love, Tom and Andrea.
Debbie and Jed. We always liked the way Jeff would look you in the eye and as large as life take the mickey out of you in the dunking group. Then quietly make sure that you were okay with it to reassure you that it was coming from a good place. He always greeted me with, "Oh, she's here, Debbie from Burnley," which started up a competition, Burnley versus Poynton, and we would swap info and magazines about the towns, each claiming that their town was the best. Jed would like to thank Jeff for taking him out and our son Joe on an introduction to golf. This was only a couple of weeks before he passed. He arranged everything and acquired clubs to use and, more importantly, taking them for a beer afterwards.
Reflections from Sheena. I suppose I should start by saying that I'm not really a dunker. I'm more of a dry dunker, if there is such a classification. I have only dunked 4 times. I did enjoy it, the initial gaps of breath and the exhilarating cold water, but what I absolutely did not enjoy was trying to get dry and dressed. Sand and soggy knickers are just not for me. Not being a dunker had its advantages when it came to Jeff. Jeff generally arrived to the beach first. He would sit at one of the beach huts, sipping his coffee, just watching the sea and the sky. Most mornings he would join the dunkers, but now and then, usually when the rain was horizontal, he would laugh and declare, "Sod that." On these occasions, I would sit next to him and we would just chat about whatever was on our minds at the time. Very precious memories. The dunkers are a community. They help each other even when needed and laugh with and at each other. Not only do they help each other, they help the Abersoch community. At most local charity events, you'll see a very strong contingency of the dunkers. If there are no dunkers, they just don't know about the event. Whatever is happening in your day-to-day life, for an hour or more, dunking puts you in a safe place with a collection of similarly minded people who would want to raise your spirits, never dampen them. If Jeff was here now, I would just give him a big hug and a kiss on the cheek.
Ian Tomlinson, Abersoch Dunkers. What does being a dunker signify to me? Great camaraderie, lovely banter, warmth of companionship, non-judgmental relationships, group support, and above all else, feeling safe. Smiley Jeff. I don't think a day has gone by since Jeff passed that I haven't heard his laugh in my head as he sipped his coffee pot and launched a ball high into the sky with a hefty swing of his boot. A wit so sharp that you could shave with it, and always the master of the dry riposte. Simply a lovely, lovely man, taken far too early from us all.
K, aka K-Face Dunker. My message to Jeff. I first became a dunker the 2nd of June 2022, and it was an instant connection with everyone I met that day and everyone I've met since. True friendships, a self-belief in myself again, some amazing memories with wonderful people, my friends. I met Jeff that year of 2022. I made a true connection with him when I paraded the beach wearing my curtain tiebacks as titty tassels, and Jeff laughed and laughed. I can still hear him laughing now, which makes me smile with love that I can still remember him so clearly. From that day on, Jeff and I were always together from 7 a.m.ish up until the dunkers arrived at 8:15. My special moment with Jeff was Christmas Day 2022. He put tea lights on all the beach huts and we sat and chatted and ate a mince pie together while shivering and laughing. That was well up there for one of my best Christmas mornings. We chatted about his mum and dad, and I offered my support and him with me with my wild brood of children, and we laughed at each other constantly. He always said, "I'm here if you ever fancy a pint." 1 year on, and I miss him more today than yesterday, and I wish I had just one more morning with him. I always talk to him when I'm on my own, just before everybody arrives for their dunk, and I'm always mithering him for something like, "Please send me some dolphins," or to give me a sign he's here. I hope you're happy, Jeff, wherever you are, and I will see you again one day for that pint, and a hug, and to hear you laugh. Sleep well, my dear friend.
Jane Till. My thoughts for Jeff's podcast. Why I dunk. It connects me with nature, gives me a natural high. It's invigorating and calm-inducing. What the group does for me. There's a sense of belonging, friendship and kinship, a real sense of community. What I'd say to Jeff. Where have you been? We've missed you.
Ali Cannon. Ali was the first person who originally brought Jeff to the Dunkers. I dunk because it resets me, takes me back to factory setting. It clears my mind, restores me. The Dunkers is like the second family, the one you got to pick. I feel connected and supported. There is always laughter, yet also always a listener, a shoulder to cry on. Jeff was a gentle, unassuming presence. I loved to get to the beach early and sit alongside him, often in silence, just looking at the sea. He had the best smile. He made you feel acknowledged. When I met Jeff, I told him he needed the Dunkers and he should come dunking. Now I realise it was the Dunkers who needed Jeff. Why did you have to go and bloody leave us? Your absence is immeasurable.
Nick Cartwright. Dunking is all about the chill of the water and the warmth of the friendships. If Jeff was with us now, I wouldn't say anything in particular. The whole spirit of the group is that the very act of getting out of bed, coming down, and getting into the sea together is a statement of friendship.
Penny Cartwright. I personally dunk to get the buzz of pushing myself out of my comfort zone and feeling a huge sense of achievement and enjoying the natural high it gives me. In times of stress, it helps me to focus in that very moment and push on through. The beauty of the mountains, beach and sea never fail to deliver. In the rain, sun, wind, sleet and snow, it's just breathtaking. Meeting and dunking with everyone has had a massive impact on my life here in Wales. In the time that I've been coming, the friendships, love, support, adventures and laughter are so very special. It all starts by stripping off and getting in the sea. No preconceived ideas about anyone, just a joint vulnerability by plunging into cold water together. Jeff was a wonderful, gentle giant and a gentleman with a cheeky sense of humour. An inspiration too, especially when taking on the triathlon. A caring and loving son. He was always quietly there, sitting on the edge of the beach hut when I arrived. A constant. He would love to tease me and say how that upon my arrival, the peace and quiet was over. Personally, I really enjoyed teasing him back. He found it fascinating how I managed to get my bra on over my towel. I enjoyed and missed the banter with Jeff. If he was standing next to me now, I would tell him how loved and missed he is. I would also let him know that his bloody bike that got him up that bloody hill is still in our garage.
Angie. Jeff. We all think we had a special friendship with Jeff, but in real life there was plenty to go round. I miss his early, quiet presence, and when I can't find in my memory a single gritty one-liner, thoughts of Jeff still makes me chuckle. The funniest, loveliest man to have lost. I'm still waiting every morning for him to stride along the beach.
Emma Woods of Abersoch Water Sports. Jeff, he was always first on the beach every morning, staring out to sea, and often I swam before anyone else on my own, and I always got a lovely wave and felt like he was watching out for me. A gorgeous, happy, smiley soul.
And a thought from Colin Dalton. The first year I dunked, I was generally the first to arrive at the beach huts, along with Jeff and Angela. It wasn't a great year for weather, yet every time I arrived, Jeff would look up at the heavens with that massive smile and say, "I might have known you were here." Whenever I walk along the beach to his plaque, I feel the need to comment on the weather. If the weather's good, I point out that I haven't brought a bad day. If the weather's poor, I ask him to sort it. I don't talk about the weather with anyone apart from Jeff. If Jeff were here now, I've no idea what I'd say, although I imagine he'd get an unwarranted hug from me. My own thoughts, if that's not too indulgent. I'm a committed dunker. Some say I should be committed. And it's given me something I didn't realise was missing from my life. Since seeking a new direction in 2019, Whilst I've always had friends, none have had the depth of the friendships I've found here with the Dunkers, which have been something deeper, more fun, more fulfilling, and more life-giving. Jeff, though you're no longer here in body, your spirit for life is with us all, every single day. You brought energy, laughter, and a sense of belonging that continues to ripple through this community. Thank you for showing us what it means to live with joy and for leaving us with friendships that will last a lifetime. You are missed, but never gone. Finally, we have a poem that was posted by Ali at the time of Jeff's passing, which I believe captured it then so poignantly that it's worth repeating. And I hope you agree and enjoy it.
Tomorrow, when the sun rises without me, take a breath of the breeze. Remember me like the ocean and the waters in the seas.
Unlike the ebb and flow of the tide, the pain of your sorrow stays. But please don't cry. Dry your tear-filled eyes and know that I'm not far away.
Tomorrow, when the sun rises without me, look to the painted skies and keep me in your memory like an anchor in the tide. May your God bless Jeff, and may we never forget him and his immortal words, bloody hell, we must be all mad. We hope you now appreciate a little more about our friend Jeff, what the Dunkers mean to each other, and importantly, how Jeff, and ironically his loss, helped us to focus more on all the people of this special group. Our podcast has focused over the last 4 months and since it was launched, primarily around one-to-one conversations, albeit recently we've introduced the Dunkers Roundtable Kitchen Chats. These are talking about subjects and issues which impact us all in all our lives here in Abersoch and wider afield. And we always seek suggestion for guests and new topics from you, our listener. So do share with me at mark@dunkerspodcast.com or respond to the comments on any episode, but do get involved. Thanks for listening. Thank you both, Nigel and Sue, for being part of today. I think we've hopefully captured what everybody wanted us to do. And as we always finish our podcasts and say, may the Dunker spirit go with you.